Hello, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar on email management, doing more with less. We're very excited today as we have two fantastic speakers, Peter Lowe and Harry Brelsford. Before we get started, I want to touch base on a couple housekeeping items. First, I wanted to let you know that the webinar will be recorded and it will be posted to the SMB Nation site within the next 48 hours. As soon as we have that up, I'll be sure to send out an email so you know exactly where that's located. Also wanted to let you know that we encourage you to ask questions and be sure to use the questions feature within the webinar system, and we will answer all of those at the end of the webinar. Now I'd like to hand it over to Harry Brelsford to get us started.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, Jenny, out here on the West Coast. It's 10 a.m. PDT, which is UTC -7 this time of year, and it's just great to have you back for the weekly webinar. Couple of things. So first of all, I've had a very interesting conversation with community members the last couple of days with respect to tomorrow. So on the East Coast, here's what's interesting, and this all gets to why I'm thanking you for your precious time. Tomorrow, primarily on the East Coast, it's a holiday, and so friends have their kids out of school. Many people are taking the day off. On the West Coast, we have meeting after meeting and phone call after phone call, and the kids are in school. So it's always very interesting to see how there was a great book out not too long ago about how we're really like 7 countries in one, with Texas and California kind of their own countries, if you can appreciate that. So I wanted to share that because here's my point. The markets are closed tomorrow. A lot of people are taking the day off, and so I really appreciate with the holiday weekend coming up that you're taking time out of your day. I know how that day is, the day before a day off, and appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us and talk about a pretty important topic of email management. And goodness sakes, I'm totally on board with this to learn to do better and more with less and so on. So without much further ado, oh, by the way, use the chat feature for your questions, and at the end of the webinar, Jennifer Hallmark will turn on the microphone back in the control room and ask the questions. There'll be plenty of time to not only ask but receive answers to your questions. Without further ado, we have the team from Kroll Ontrack and Peter Lowe. Peter, where are you located today, sir? And let's get started.
Thank you, Harry. I really appreciate it. Yep, I'm located in Reston, Virginia, right outside of D.C., up here on the tech corridor, the Dulles Tech Corridor, also known as Data Center Alley these days. So a lot of technology going on up here in Northern Virginia. But really appreciate the opportunity to present to some SMB Nation clients. We will be at SMB Nation in May. We look forward to that. We were there the last few years and really enjoyed the hospitality, especially your SMB Nation party that you had. That was fantastic. So thank you on behalf of our team. So yeah, we're here today to talk about email management. Talk about some of the challenges, and also maybe talk about some of the tools in the industry and show you one of our tools that we have that is used for granular recovery and search for email within Exchange databases and out of legacy backup. So what I'm going to do is start off with some introductions, talk to you a little bit about the hidden costs of email management, and get into how some software tools can help. And then we're also going to show you a brief demonstration of the tool, and then we'll go into Q&A. So, as far as introductions go, my name is Peter Lowe. I am with Kroll Ontrack now for about 10 years. Best company I ever worked for. I've been selling software here for about 7 out of 10 years. We are the largest data recovery company in the world, so we've been around 25 years. We're in 33 countries across the globe, and we handle everything from desktops, laptops, servers, fires, floods, corrupt databases, and corrupt VMDK files, and all that stuff. So I'm lucky enough to be a senior business development person for Kroll Ontrack. I'm based in Reston, Virginia, and the eastern U.S. is my territory. So we also have Troy Ronning dialed in today. He is our top technical resource at Kroll Ontrack for this software and some other products that we have, and he's going to run the demo for us today and probably answer most of your technical questions. And if you have any questions, I know we have a lot of MSPs and resellers on the line. I would be the one that would talk a little bit about licensing and partnership info if there is any questions. But going to try to keep it more informative in general, just to give you something to add to your basic knowledge base. So, thanks for the time. So we titled this "Hidden Costs of Managing Email." Just a lot of things to think about, and that is, what are the costs we don't think about? You know, the time. How much is the time worth? Human resource costs, infrastructure costs, extra storage space, things like that. So we're going to kind of get into that. So we've wanted to clarify that type of thing, and we've looked and discovered some market research done by an email archiving company, the Radicati Group, recently, where there's over 55 billion email messages sent every day, and that's not including spam. So, you know, clearly we are awash in email. It dominates our communication in the business environment, and it really significantly increases the importance of the proper archiving and restoration capabilities. The costs can really be broken out into several categories, including storage costs, infrastructure costs, time, and human resource costs. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and you know, we can kind of feel some of the customers' pain there when they call us and they want to get some solutions to some of the pain points that they have. I think we're going to kind of go over some of those pain points today, so you can see that. That way, you'll be better prepared to propose some solutions for them. So, as far as storage costs go, you know, whether it's due to business, regulatory, or legal reasons, or, you know, most businesses today create backups of their exchange data. Just about everybody does. And, you know, due to the limitations in what's natively offered with Exchange, most of the available third-party programs, many administrators are forced to take a two-pronged approach to backing up their Exchange data. So, you know, they do a full backup with also a brick-level backup. And, you know, the brick-level backup is typically an individual mailbox backups for top executives or managers or VIPs, and, you know, that way they can restore that a little bit quicker without doing a full Exchange restore. So, you know, due to the shortcomings of the full backup method, a lot of times businesses are saddled with the expense of having an Exchange recovery server available. So they actually keep a specifically separate Exchange recovery server or a restore server around just to do restores when called upon. And that can add some costs also. We see that all the time. Talk to people a lot about how some of the solutions that we have can eliminate that. So we'll get into that. On the other hand, brick level backups, one of the main downfalls with those is they just take a long time. So, you know, we've had customers start a brick level backup on a Friday night, and as their company grows, by the time Sunday night comes around, the brick level backup is still not completed, and they also take significantly more storage space than the full backup. So, kind of adds to your overall storage cost for you or your customer. And, a lot of times, alternatively, people do a combination of both, but kind of leaves you with the added expense of storage and brick level backup. So kind of the question really begs to be asked, do you really want to take up your valuable storage space with bloated backups? You know, whether using a hosted solution or maybe a high-end customized solution, you should always kind of protect your storage investment by extending the life and the bandwidth of, you know, what you've invested your money in. So, as far as infrastructure, time, and costs, as we talked about on the previous slide, the two main backup methods are full and brick level. If you happen to do a full backup, the process to restore an individual message or messages from an EDP, it's pretty complicated, and it can definitely be expensive. Exchange admins know how to do this, but it's time consuming, it's a pain. So, you know, first of all, build a recovery server. That's really a duplicate of your production server. So you end up restoring the backup to that recovery server, and from that recovery server you can then export individual messages and PST files and search through those PST files for specific messages that you need to recover. And after all of that, you can finally copy some messages back to the production server. And, you know, that process is expensive for many reasons, and it's difficult. And, a lot of times a restore cannot even actually be accomplished depending on how the backup was done. Since the recovery server must be set up exactly the way the production exchange server was, if the configuration info is not well documented, which frequently happens when new exchange guys come in and new guys leave, or maybe you do some exchange migration to a new version, you won't always be able to restore the backup to a recovery server. So that's why some of these tools that we'll talk to you about today would come in handy for you or your customers. So, and above and beyond that, the infrastructure costs of buying and maintaining a recovery server, and that's pretty steep. Who wants to have another piece of hardware around and another Microsoft license, and you got to patch it and secure it? As an alternative, you could build a recovery server only when you needed it, but from the folks that I speak to on a regular basis, they tell me that it takes almost an entire day to build an Exchange recovery server. So that's really impractical, and in a corporate environment, and information is really needed quickly. So the time starts adding up, the cost of the time. You need to have a recovery server for restoring mailboxes and messages, and you really have to take that time into consideration. Time must really be taken to set up and configure the recovery server so it's identical to the production exchange server, and full backup must be restored to a recovery server before you can even begin searching for the items that need to be restored. So tough process. Very tough process, time-consuming and tedious. Is it doable? Yes. Traditional Microsoft methods, can we get it done? Yes. Do Exchange guys want to do things like that when they have a lot of other things on their plate? Most of the time, the people that we talk to say no. So besides deciding whether to use full backups, brick-level backups, or a combination of the two, admins really have to decide whether to do the backups online or offline. And online backups really have a benefit of not really disrupting the email service, while offline backups have the benefit of speed. So, for example, do me a favor and pop it back a slide, if you don't mind. I appreciate it. For example, a server with 400 mailboxes can take about an hour to do a full online backup. So 400 mailboxes, 1 hour. Same server doing brick level can take up to 18 hours. So that's a pretty significant and costly difference. Admins have to really balance the need for speed, time savings against the downsides of mail disruption. So when you decide how often you want to do a full backup, that's a key decision. And so next slide. I appreciate it. Kind of want to get in a little bit into the human resource cost aspect. Kind of goes hand in hand with the time savings. Someone has to create these brick level backups. Someone has to take the time to do the searching and restoring of the lost messages, and someone has to fulfill the email recovery requests. And by decreasing the time admins spend backing up and searching for the stuff and restoring email messages, it really allows them to spend more time on other priorities. So it could lead to reduced staffing. It could lead to just a better life for an exchange guy, I think, is probably one of the biggest things that we see. So let's go to the next slide here. We put this slide together to kind of show you, maybe you could show some of your customers and clients, but when email's down, there's been a lot of studies that show how much money it costs per minute to some of these larger corporations. We really wanted to kind of show you just how much you could save just in restoration costs by using a product that allows you to easily find and restore items directly from an Exchange database file or a disk or a tape backup, rather than going through the process that we talked about previously, which is traditional Microsoft methods. This particular illustration shows the potential savings that you could realize. So in this example, we looked at an average company in a metro area, and as you already know, one size fits all doesn't really apply when it comes to email recovery. Sometimes you have some very easy or medium or hard recoveries. So an IT admin in our example company here manages about 6,000 mailboxes, and he only gets about 10 requests per month for email recovery. So of those requests, we've heard, based on our experience, that about 20% are very easy, 60% fall into the medium category, and then about 20% are much more difficult. So easy requests can really be compared to an individual message where the backups are still on site. Medium request is something where maybe an individual message, maybe the index exists but the backups are off site. Whereas a hard request, which we get frequently, it can really be compared to those that involve multiple mailbox accounts and over varying amounts of time, and the backups can usually be off-site and the contents may not even be cataloged. So those can be e-discovery, legal requests, compliance requests. So we see a lot of that in medical and banking, and anybody that really has the email retention policy in place that requires them to produce email from different points in time. So you can see that the table shows the calculations for the total yearly cost of recovering email at our example company here. If the administrator in our example could just cut the time spent searching for and restoring email by even a third, that would save the example company about $25K in just a single year. So this type of savings is in addition to also the savings that you would also realize due to the reduced storage, the infrastructure, the time, so human resource costs. So after this webinar, I really would encourage you and invite you to see how much you may save by kind of plugging in your own numbers into this example based on your experience, or talking to your customers about how much do they spend in time and money recovering email. And one other thing I'll mention here is it's nice to say yes. So if you have a tool in place, a lot of companies are just saying no. Hey, do you want to, can you restore an email from last February? No, we can't. Meanwhile, the real answer is yes, we can, but it's a real pain. So I'm going to kind of go into, at this point, how software tools can help. So we've kind of talked a little bit about the traditional Microsoft methods, how they're difficult. Do they work? Technically, they do work, but they're difficult. So we're going to just talk a little bit about some of the tools that are out there and how they work. So as far as Exchange admin challenges, Exchange admins, IT administrators, some of the challenges we see are really a variety, but they kind of force an Exchange admin to extend their resources and budget beyond their capacity. So luckily there are some tools available that can solve common pain points like granular restoration. So when we say granular, we mean individual message, all the way down to, yeah, I need a message containing a specific keyword. I know it was sent to me in last February or March, and if the CEO asks you for that, I think you're going to produce it. If it's Mary from accounting, who knows if you're going to produce it. So it's nice to be able to say yes in that case. Resource constraints. Really, these particular software tools can kind of extend the IT resources by locating emails and items and attachments in minutes, and really eliminate the expensive brick-level backup process and eliminate the need to restore a full backup to a recovery server. So when we get into migrating, server migration or mailbox creation, we have tools that can make it a lot easier. A lot of tools that don't cause so many headaches when you want to migrate. And software tools can really create a flexible environment that allows administrators to update, upgrade, and migrate data pretty much effortlessly, whereas traditional methods are a lot tougher. So as far as locating information for regulatory and compliance reasons, another thing that's really big. So if you have the need to find specific messages from specific points in time and you want to maintain your internal security policies, we can help you with that. So we sponsored this webinar. We're a partner with SMB Nation. We really enjoy working with them, and again, I mentioned we're the largest data recovery company in the world. So there were times in history where we were challenged with how to drill into an Exchange database without having an Exchange server around. So that's where this tool came from. It came from our internal laboratories, and somebody had the bright idea that this would be a great tool for the general public to have. So, going on 10 years now, we've been selling this and our power control software for Exchange to assist Exchange admins, ensuring that they always have easy access to archived email. So whether they need it for internal use or regulatory reasons, it's really a must-have. If you get a chance to show this to an Exchange admin, they'll want it. That's the way we've found that it was designed to offer granular accessibility that an admin needs and really allow them to search across multiple data sources for specific criteria, specific date ranges, things like that, and find specific mail. This is all done without Exchange, just with the database files. So recovering lost or deleted or archived mailbox items in minutes. So we can copy them directly from that EDB file directly to a live mailbox. And if someone happens to accidentally delete an important email or folder, you can recover it in minutes and copy the messages directly to that person's live Exchange mailbox. So all that can be done while staying at your own desk. So restoration, you can restore mailboxes from a previous backup directly into a production server. So or to a newer existing PST file. So eliminating the need to perform single mailbox or brick level backups. So we talked about that earlier. They take a long time. They take up a lot of storage space. They're a pain. Guess what? If you just have an EDB file, we can get it done with that EDB file, and that is great. You can use Ontrack Power Controls to restore complete mailboxes or maybe an individual folder or specific attachments or contacts or calendar items or public folder database items. So also a little bit of migration. We get into migration so we can migrate faster. We have a fully automated mailbox creation wizard to copy mailboxes to new servers. So Ontrack Power Controls allows the customer to really completely merge all the mailboxes into a single information store without having to bring the old server online. So if you have an EDB file from the old server and you have a new server set up, we can copy all that mail directly to that new server, and that's pretty exciting. Administrators can also copy an offline mailbox to a new server, eliminating the need for the old server to be online. So that's pretty exciting. And the next two slides really going to give you a little bit of more detail on some of the more specific advantages and features of what Power Controls does. And Troy is actually going to come on and do a demo. So I don't want to go over all of these in detail, but I'll let you take a look at these. And I really appreciate if you'd actually type in a question or two that you may have in the question window, so we can answer some of those. And but if you take a look at this slide, we can really reduce mailbox restore time. That's one of the biggest keys. We can reduce mailbox restore time. We can recover down to the individual message. We can eliminate Exchange recovery servers, and those are extra Exchange servers that are sitting around that are rarely used. So customers are going to love to hear that. They can save money on hardware and storage. Searching is probably about half of all the business we do now is with searching. People want to know, can I search my live Exchange server for any mail that contains certain keywords? Absolutely. Can I search my archive backups even from older versions? Yes. Can I do a little migration with it? Does it work with virtual? Can it open EDBs that are built in or that are inside a snapshot? Yes, we can do that. And these are just some of the tools that some of the uses that a lot of people are finding our tool very useful for. So at this point, I really appreciate the time allowing me to kind of go over this with you, just kind of talked a little bit about the challenges of how your customers may be running into some issues with restoring, especially individual mail items, and doing some searching. So at this point, I'd like to pass control over to Troy Ronning. As I mentioned, Troy is a senior technical person in our team. He's helped many companies go through many projects of restoring one individual item or potentially going back for years and restoring lots of mail for legal reasons or migration projects and all that stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to Troy and let him show you the user interface of the tool and then move into the Q&A. So. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Peter. Okay. Well, hopefully everybody got some good insight there from Peter. Now let's just take a quick peek at Ontrack Power Controls for Exchange. It's really a software suite comprised of 3 different components, and we'll talk about 2 of those today. So the Extract Wizard component would work with your existing backup software when it's in place to allow you to eliminate the Exchange recovery server or using RSG or RDB. What it's going to do is it's going to emulate an Exchange recovery server and allow you to redirectly restore your EDB and your log files to an alternate location of your choosing. So by selecting Backup Exec, and we support many others, just using this for an example, we select our flavor of Exchange that we'd like to restore. So in this case, it'll be in the 2000, 2003, 2007 range, and choose the storage group or type in the storage group name that you want to restore. You can do multiples there as well. Give it a hard drive location of your choosing, again, non-Exchange storage, so you can utilize lower tier storage and reduce that cost by having a cheaper disk around. Of course, the hardware manufacturers love it when we say that. And what happens is this machine will actually emulate itself like it's an Exchange recovery server, allowing you to do a redirected restore from the, in this case, Backup Exec console to this machine. So you'll get redirected restore to this machine name, files restored to this location, so your logs and your EDB, for this specific storage group name. Once you have those flat files, we're pretty much done with the Extract Wizard, and you didn't even have to use Exchange to do any of that. Once that's complete, we launch Ontrack Power Controls for Exchange. You'll see it's a really simple, easy-to-use interface. It's a source target tool, source being that offline unmounted Exchange database, target being the live Exchange server, whether it be production, test, or what have you, or even a PST file. So the first step is open source. Browse out to where the database is. We can also point at the log files and play those logs to the database without committing those changes permanently. We'll do all that work in the third area there, the temporary file path, with about 200 to 300 megabytes of free space per database we'd like to open. I hit OK, and just like that, the Exchange database is open. So I can see the mailboxes. I can browse inside and see the folder structure. I can go inside the inbox and actually open up a message and preview it, including the attachment, without even needing Exchange around. So you see it's a really simple, easy way to get access without requiring that Exchange recovery server, RSG or RDB, and we haven't even had to touch PowerShell commands either. So once I have data, I've got a couple different ways I can work with it. I can right-click on a user and I can export it. So this is a nice, easy way to replace Xmerge for those older environments. I can take the user right out to a PST file by giving it a hard drive location, making sure I've got a checkbox selected there. Choose export, and we can get around those limits within Xmerge. So we all are well aware of the 2 gig PST limit. We can do the new Unicode version, and we do a hard limit of about 20 gigs. And if it goes over 20 gigs for a mailbox, which we hope it never does, just from a storage use component, it would roll over to a second, third, and a fourth PST as needed. It works the same way with the older non-Unicode PSTs. Once it reaches about 1.8 gig, it'll roll to a second, a third, and a fourth PST without airing out like you would experience in Xmerge. We hit OK, it extracts out the data, and you'll have your PST at that location. To get data back to a live production environment, it's very simple and easy as well. Just click on the third box at the top. We get our connection dialog box here. We can connect to a single mailbox by supplying the mailbox name and the server name. Or we can connect to all the mailboxes by giving it the domain controller and the server name information. We can even do public folder restores here, something you can't do using native tools today. Hit OK. It does Active Directory permission checks to ensure I have the appropriate permissions. Hit close, and there I've got my live production environment open. So if we browse inside Andrea's mailbox, go to the inbox, we'll see it's empty. So if I want to restore something, it's really as simple as drag, drop, and done. So just like that, mail is going to flow through through Mappy, just like regular mail does. It's going to show up in the inbox. No need to close and reopen Outlook. The red, unread flags will be intact, and you'll be all set. And there we'll see it in the live environment, including the attachment. Everything's there, and we can move on. So that's a quick preview of on-track power controls for Exchange and what you can do with third-party tools. And with that, I will send it back over to Peter.
Thank you, Troy. I appreciate that. And I think at this point we were going to open it up for questions.
Absolutely. So thanks a lot, guys. One question. Well, let me do some housekeeping. I'm just so excited, and the caffeine's kicking in out here on the West Coast. So, but folks, use the chat feature. Use the chat feature to ask your questions. And then Jenny in the control room will be coming back online in just a moment, as she does every week, to relay those questions to the presenters. While you're doing that, I have a question, and I honestly don't know the answer, but do you work with the Exchange compatible alternative that has gotten some notice in our space? There's a product called Curio out of the Bay Area. It's an Exchange server, and I don't know the details, but a lot of our MVPs have reached out and tested it and embraced it and said it's pretty cool. And apparently it's an Exchange clone. That's probably not quite right. I don't hope Microsoft Legal's not on the phone, but it uses the same architecture. It's Exchange compatible. Are you working with Curio in a like manner?
That's a great question, Harry. I am not really that familiar with Curio. It's something that I'm sure after this call I'll be taking a good hard look at. And
sure.
If there is a fit, I'm sure we will put that on the roadmap and dig into it.
Absolutely. Please contact me offline, extension 103 at our main line. Give me a toot later, and I'll be happy to debrief you. And thank you for answering the question. If you don't mind me asking, I appreciate the answer, because that very cool. Jenny, over in the control room, do we have some questions, please?
I have one. Do you run it off of a laptop or a server?
Thanks, Jenny. That's a great question as well, for whoever asked that. We are very simple and easy and lightweight. So we are often run from IT workstations. I personally have used this software in the field at customer sites from a laptop to do the work in sort of a consultative role. Equally, though, we have just as many customers running the software on the back end on a server, whether it be physical or virtual, and just trying to be a little closer to where the data resides because that tends to work better for them. I guess at the end of the day, it will work and run on either a workstation or laptop or server. It just depends on what works best in your environment.
Cool. Cool. I think we have Chris Bangs on the line. So Chris, I see you on the control panel. Are you a panelist? Are you able to speak, Chris? We'll see if we can raise Chris. I know he's out there. He's out there in the ether, but Chris Bangs of SMB Nation has a lot of insights into kind of what the community is chatting about and so on. Are there any border issues with some of the stuff you're doing? I just have a curiosity, but a lot of times in these type of conversations, when you start to delve into storage and you cross the U.S. border, you have an issue. Can you speak towards that?
Sure. Well, Kroll Ontrack operates in over 30 countries, so we don't have any issues shipping or working with companies located worldwide. I mean, there's a great deal of our business comes from North and South America. You know, we do a lot of business in EMEA and have several customers in APAC as well. So we're very much global with our customers.
Okay, cool. And I'm seeing a question come in. Do you have an MSP program?
Yep. Yep, I can answer that. Yep, we've had quite a few MSPs interested over the past year or so in obtaining this to offer to their customers as a solution for granular restoration and bundled with their managed service provider offering. So yes, we do have an MSP program. It's a subscription model. So that's something that we detail on our website, and I know that our contact information is on the screen here. But if you are an MSP attending this demo and you'd like to talk about that, we'd be glad to hear from you on that.
Sure. Kind of a related question is, do you have interest over in different communities? So of course we have the IT Pro, and the IT Pro has the beloved MSP. But increasingly, SMB Nation has a sister site called Telefonation, and basically mid-decade, the 2005 timeframe, we built out a niche in voice over IP and telecom. And it's come full circle because, you know, here we are in 2013, the markets are at record highs, there's, you know, things are coming back. And what we're seeing is the telecom sector raise their hand again and say, hey, our sales agents, our guys can, you know, not only do VoIP, of course, but they can do cloud, they can do IT services. So we're seeing that convergence conversation that I, quite frankly, has played out about 3 times in my career emerge again. I think it said it last time, but I think it's real this time. And so do you have relationships with the telecom sector like sales agents? Because they're starting to touch this area. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And we do have several partners in the telecom industry. A lot of people that we're talking to about some OEM relationships now, just because we, people are getting their voicemails in their inbox. So as their EDBs are being backed up, there's WAV files that have voicemails on them. So if you want to restore a voicemail from an EDB file, we have just the tool to do it. So absolutely, we'd love to talk to some more telecoms, and we are currently in the process of partnering with several.
Well, I've got good news. You're going to meet a bunch of them at the spring conference in about 6 weeks. So that's the good news.
That's
so
great.
We'll roll with that. Yeah, we'll roll with that. But next question is, are you in distribution? So does that make sense? Are you going through Lifeboat or Synix or Ingram or D&H?
Yep, we are. We do have a few distribution partners right now, and I know for government we have Carasoft. They're based in the DC region, and I think, Troy, could you name the other 2 distributors that we have? I think you've worked on site with them.
Yep. The one I'm more familiar with is InfoX, distribution out of New Jersey. And we just did business with Paragon Micro,
Right.
Yep, in Illinois.
Yep, and we list those partners on our site as a distributor. So absolutely, we do sell through distribution.
Okay, cool. No, it makes perfect sense. It absolutely does. Folks, again, another opportunity to go ahead and marshal and deliver your questions to Jenny. Let me just check my own screen here. Let's see. Here we go. I am seeing on my screen, and again, folks, please use the chat feature. I'm seeing I missed the first part of the webinar. Does this software integrate with Office 365? There's actually two questions. And so Office 365 integration. Oh my, they're flowing in now. Office 365, hurry, we got a lot of questions.
Yeah, we don't work with Office 365 right now. That's a hosted solution, so we are not able to work with that at this point.
Sure. No, that's fine. Okay, let me scroll back up. Forgive me, folks. I'm working on a little interface here. Does this work with a Segra backup or Datto BDR is a question?
Yep. We have a partnership with Datto, so if you have a Datto BDR, more than likely you have our software built in, and we've had a relationship with them for a while now. They're a very up-and-coming, growing MSP. So yes, and Segra, I'm not overly familiar, but I can say that the way that our tool works, it's been on just about any BDR out there, and so if you have an image-based backup solution of any type, whether it's, let's say, a Veeam, a StorageCraft, VMware, a snapshotting type of image-based backup tool, we are able to, just about every time that I've seen, drill right into those EDB files that are created when that image-based backup is created.
Okay, cool. Next question from Matt Anderson. Matt Anderson, by the way, asked the Office 365 question. He goes on to say, also, is this a possible solution for managing clients' PST files that may already be local to help with discovery?
Yeah, great question, Matt. Thank you for that. Our software can definitely open up multiple PST files at one time and allow you to search across those based on keywords, date ranges, to froms, your other metadata fields. And you're able to look in the subject, the body, the attachment name, and if you need to, you can even search within the attachment content. Ontrack Power Controls actually supports over 400 different types of attachments, so it's pretty extensive. You can definitely take a deep dive into the data and find what you're looking for.
Okay, cool. Next question: Do you work with Veeam or StorageCraft backup?
Most definitely with StorageCraft. They've got a really good product there with the name escapes me. Shadow Protect does a great job. Doing full image-based backups, and they have a built-in feature to do to mount a backup and present it as a map drive letter for you, whether it be read or read-write access. From there, it's simply browsing into that backup or that mount point, if you will, seeing the database and the log files, opening it up, and letting Power Controls kind of take over and do that granular recovery from a point in time. As far as Veeam, they work in a very similar fashion. So any type of snapshots or image-based backup software, as Pete pointed out, if you have that capability and flexibility to mount it as a read or read-write mount point or drive letter, we can work.
Okay, cool. And I think I can knock out. And by the way, guys, forgive me if my tongue gets twisted on some of this technology. Here's my challenge. I can't be a subject matter each week on each of the technical topics, so if I misspeak, understand my heart's in the right place. but I'm gonna give this a try. It looks like we can combine these questions. First one is, can you open an EDB snapshot? And the second one is, can your tool open a corrupt EDB? So they're kind of related. You want to tackle that one?
Sure. As far as the snapshot question, if you're using server-based snapshotting or what have you, as long as you have the ability to mount that on and see that offline unmounted Exchange database via a UNC or map drive path, we will most definitely work with that type of solution, and do in many cases with a lot of the big storage vendors. The second question about the corrupted EDB file. Most of the time when you're doing an online Exchange backup, it's doing it in building that backup in an inconsistent state. So when you do a native recovery, you have the need to do ESUtils to make it consistent before you can even open it up or mount it. We eliminate that need. We allow you to open up that inconsistent database, as well as the ability to go into some corrupt databases. Of course, if your corruption level is so great that we are unable to work with it, being the world's largest data recovery company, we can provide you services that will allow you to get your data out. And whether it be logical or physical failure, we can help you out with that.
Yeah, by the way, I think early in my career, boy, and I'm really digging deep, one of my first IT pro jobs at the Washington Credit Union League, where we did a recovery. We sent the hard disk into Ontrack. I want to say you guys were in the Midwest, like Minnesota or something. I could be a little bit off on the geography, but been there. been there on using Kroll Ontrack, as it were. I think we might have Chris reconnected. I pinged Chris. Were you able to get that landline from Florida to work again?
Yeah, I'm here. Actually, I was trying to put a call into Karen Goss, a friend of mine from over at Kroll. But one of the things that I like about this, and I was talking about to someone last week, is you never know when you're going to need data recovery servers. I love the recovery side of Kroll. I think that everyone should have that arrangement with somebody, and certainly Kroll is Ontrack is one of the best places, I believe, to have it, because you never know when your customer's going to need, where they're going to drop a WD passport on the ground or lose a drive sometime. And I would hate to have to start establishing a relationship with somebody when that happens. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And I've got 2 drives right now, Harry, that I need restored. And if I didn't know someone, I'd be on Google. I would be on Google Googling for a service. And I don't know that service. I don't know where they're at. I don't know who their employees are. So if you think that it's okay just to check in and find somebody on Google, I'd recommend against it. And definitely on that side of it, establish a relationship with these folks. They're fast, they're quick, they're readily available, and they're not they're good people here in the United States and a client of mine.
Yeah, Chris, I can honestly say, based on my early IT pro experience, that nobody ever got fired for using Kroll Ontrack. So how's that? How's that as a spin on a well-worn phrase in the IT business?
Yeah, and I'm having trouble articulating my point, but I think what I'm saying is go sign up for the partner program and get it in your briefcase. You may not have a need today, but just have it ready, set, go, so that when it does happen, you've got a reliable company that you can go to instantly, rather than researching, for somebody over in Dubai that'll do it for a nickel a terabyte.
Yep. So Chris, maybe just a moment. Go, Peter, or the other gentleman. You want to reply to these compliments?
Well, hey, Chris, I want to thank you for that. You know, I started off on the data recovery side of the business, and but yeah, one thing to note: being an Ontrack partner, a Kroll Ontrack partner for our data recovery, there's no cost or commitment to that. It's simply a matter of letting us know you want to be a partner. We'll get you set up in our system. We'll give you a partner ID. We'll give you access to our portal so you can look at some of our data recovery tips, and you'll get on our, maybe once a month we'll send you out an email with some of the latest crazy data recovery stories that we've heard of, people dropping their laptops in the ocean or off of buildings or things like that. And but in general, when it also involves, being a partner, you get a discount. So not only are you prepared and you have an assigned rep, but also you have a discount. And a lot of people position themselves as resellers of data recovery. So I know there's a lot of MSPs and resellers on here. So we have different ways of either you can refer us to customers, or you can be the middleman. So we also have Ontrack Power Controls Partner Program for reselling software, so we can get you signed up as a partner too, and offer free trials to all your customers and things like that. So we have a lot of partner programs. So, but I appreciate the compliment, Chris, because we have some great stories. If we had some more time, we'd tell you. But we do get people actually in tears, crying in our office with their hard drives and their servers and their tapes snapped in half and things like that. So.
Hey,
yeah, I
Peter,
know we're on the email side of it today, but I just had to mention that it's a no-brainer. You got to get it in the briefcase. I am excited about this product though as well, and I can't tell you how many times I've felt a little bit of nervousness because I don't use file cabinets anymore. I use Outlook, and I keep everything in my Outlook, and I never delete emails, and I call my administrator, and I keep getting my limit upgraded, and every once in a while I'll go delete a whole bunch of stuff that I could part with, but I've got like 60 folders. I got a Harry folder, a Tom folder, a Cloud Nation folder. I mean, I have all these folders, and I just store things there, and it becomes a burden to find an email sometimes, or to look up an email, or to pull something out of an archive, and then there's just that insecurity of what happens one day when I just blow the whole thing out, and then I just lose that stuff forever. And this is probably the most I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen Canada. I'm not going to mention names. I've seen a lot of stuff, and this is probably the most comprehensive, comfortable, and feature-rich product that I've seen.
Yep. Hey, Chris, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. So, folks, we have about 5 minutes left, and did you know that at the end of the webinar, so please stay, but we are drawing randomly. Jenny will draw one random name of an attendee to win a Android tablet. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that. So you stick with us. And then Chris, maybe back to you and Peter. Quick conversation on our event coming up, and I guess it's 5 weeks, 5-6 weeks, May 3rd through 5th, at the Microsoft campus. Chance to visit with Kroll Ontrack. So Chris, why don't you give us the 1-minute elevator ride pitch, and then I'll check in with Peter.
Yeah, it takes me 1 minute to say hello, but I'll try. Well, I do believe that this show is one of the most important shows that you could attend this year. Certainly I would have liked this show to be at the fall conference because we have a larger audience and the message needs to be heard. But the spring show is going to talk about how to sell against the cloud, how to sell the cloud, and how to survive and thrive by further monetizing your existing clientele, so that you can offset the loss in revenue that's going on. I mean, you're not going to be able to charge $500 for a terabyte, $500 a month for a terabyte of BDR anymore. Those days are passing. And how are you going to further monetize and hold on to your clients while you've got companies coming out for $500 a year for a terabyte of BDR? And that's what this conference is about, to not only survive, but to thrive by being able to put on more clients, by being able to further monetize your existing clients. And I can't tell you, I feel like we're in Noah's Ark. You know, we're sitting here saying it's coming, it's coming. We've been saying it for years, it's coming. And guys, now it's here. Now it's here. And we've got a very short window of opportunity to figure out how to really capitalize on this. And many of us are going to become very wealthy because of this change. And sadly, many of us are going to retire, sell, or go out of business. And that's what this is, the Noah's Ark for 2013. And I hope that everybody on the phone attends and spreads the word and gets the community behind this conference. Harry?
Cool. Thank you. And I appreciate the, as always, the passion and excitement and your rather authentic way of describing nouns and verbs and adverbs. Sir, you have a gift. But Peter, we have just a couple minutes left. If you want to maybe kind of reel this all in and maybe highlight some of the resources again, and then I'll close this up.
Yep, I appreciate it. Well, I'd like to say that we, Kroll Ontrack is booth 6 at SMB Nation. So we really invite everybody to come by and visit us this year. And really thank you for your time. Again, it's you know, we talked about Exchange. I will throw a quick plug in here at the end for our Ontrack Power Controls for SharePoint software, and that is very similar. Drilling into SharePoint content databases and granular restores with SharePoint. So, you know, we cover SharePoint also. And again, I encourage you to take a look at our website for our partner program and reach out to myself or Troy Ronning at any time. We do have free trial downloads of our softwares. They are view only. If you're an SMB Nation partner, or if you mention that you're with SMB Nation, we'd be glad to give you a fully working trial that actually works. So, you know, give us a call and reach out to us anytime. And Harry, I really want to thank you. I look forward to seeing you at the show this year. And I know a lot of people come up to you and bother you at these shows, but I'm going to be one of them, and you're going to see me there in person.
I have one question before we go, guys, and I'm so sorry to insert, but
go ahead.
I missed a little bit of the webinar. I apologize if you covered this. When I sign up to be a partner, am I signed up for both sides of the business, or are there two sign-ups? So do I get the forensic recovery and the email and the SharePoint, or do I have two different partner programs I have to sign up? Thanks.
Good question.
Yep. I would say two. I really would. You know, we'll give you the same partner ID number. You'll have two different portals to log into. One will be a data recovery portal with some information about our DR services, and one will be our software side. The same person can help you get signed up for both, so that's not a problem. So perfect, you won't have to make two phone calls, but you know, we'll get you signed up on both tracks with one interface of the company. So.
Fantastic.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, let me take the mic back, because we want to do as we say and say as we do. Jenny, go ahead and spin the random number generator on your computer screen. While you're doing that, to pick the Android tablet winner. Folks, I just want to highlight yet again that we have reached the end of this week's webinar. Understood, tomorrow's a holiday for many, many people, especially cool school kids. So thank you for joining us on what is effectively the last day of March and effectively the last day of Q1. So may Q2 bring you riches. If you look at the stock market today, hopefully that's a good sign. Jenny, do we have you back? Can we name someone who won the Android tablet?
Yes, the winner is Steve Smith.
Steve, and Jenny, is that Smith? The common name Smith?
Yep, Steve Smith.
Okay, very good. Well, Steve, we have your contact details from the sign-up. You'll be hearing from Heather on our staff, and we'll make arrangement to send you a complimentary Android tablet where, by the way, you can read the SMB Nation website, learn about our spring conference, and go and get some of the resources over at Kroll Ontrack. So with that said, we are at time, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great day.